Cylindrify a form. In this video, we'll use Cylindrify and we'll use Erase and Fill. In Fusion 360, let's get started with the supplied design Form Cylindrify. If we take a look at this design, you can tell that it used to be a cylinder, but there have been some modifications made. The modifications often happen by using Edit Form and making adjustments to the geometry. For example, if we select some of these faces by holding down Control or Command, then we use the Alt key, which will allow us to make an extrusion. Changes like that oftentimes are going to be very difficult for us to go back and smooth out without using some advanced techniques. So to get started on this example, we want to explore two different tools that are extremely handy whenever you're working with generative design outcomes. We're going to be taking a look at Erase and Fill, and we also want to look at the Cylindrify tool. Let's start by looking at Erase and Fill. First, let's note that we need to select the faces that we want to remove. To do this, we'll have to rotate the body around and select all the faces on the body that we want to get rid of. These are going to be all the ones that were created from that extrude. Then we have a couple different methods that we should talk about: Reduce Star and Fill Star. These two options are going to create a patch or a fill in this area in different ways. The reduced star is probably going to be the best option based on the surrounding geometry. The fill star generally will have a patch in the center, and then it'll create lines or edges from all the surrounding vertices. So let's try the reduced star and say OK. You can see here that it was able to quickly and easily patch the surrounding geometry. I won't say that this always works. In some cases with more complicated geometry, especially if the number of sides on your specific patches is more or less than 4, it can have trouble. But it is a great tool to explore, and remember that you always have undo and redo. Next, let's take a look at Modify, and let's go down to Cylindrify. While this is a basic example that was created just to show the tool, Cylindrify is extremely helpful whenever you're working with generative design outcomes. It can really help you smooth out some of the different areas that are created in the generative design process. To do this, I'm going to use a box selection, and I'm going to select all the faces with the exception of the upper two. Let's note that as we do this, it does create more of a cylindrical result, but notice that the edges are not smooth. Everything's okay, but it does help us understand what this tool does. Because the back side of this design was originally tapered, it automatically took our selections and it tried to average them to create a cylinder. If this backside wasn't pushed out so far, we'd likely get a more cylindrical result. But again, it's important to understand what the tool does so we can better prepare to use it on our own designs. For this example, let's go ahead and save this before moving on.